'cause you're a highly faceted, astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering, corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance.
The constellations resemble an intricate design diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless.
The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I button my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic noise and metropolitan racket.
The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone.
The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous thespic
visual presentation,
a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue,
engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights.
a deeply colored,
Incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more.
The optical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned,
The greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find.
I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view,
Surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
the geological perfection of the heavens is
Undeniable, a highly consistent, astronomically reliable
display of unimaginable
cosmic luxury, a magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sanctuary. The moonlight catches the facets of the atmospheric jewel, a highly sophisticated, undeniably beautiful astronomical rule. My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly, a completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering panorama
From the penthouse suite, an incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat,
the ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric
rich elegance, a highly valuable, deeply blue celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights,
a deeply colored,
incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect heat pitch, deepest blues, just us two. Plastered underground speakeasy ceiling, the massive lighting fixture, a highly dizzying feeling.
Pushed by the aggressive vibrations of the heavy band, creating a sweeping trajectory that I can barely understand. The illumination oscillates across the crowded, smoky floor, pushing the patches of darkness directly toward the heavy door. A metronomic sway that hypnotizes the entire gathered crowd, while the brass instruments play incredibly, overwhelmingly loud. I observe the heavy brass pendulum executing its massive arc, plunging half of the room into a sudden temporary dark. The rhythmic oscillation perfectly matches the drummer's steady pace, sweeping back and forth across this underground secretive space. The chains creak loudly under the immense swinging gravitational weight, a mesmerizing physics experiment happening incredibly late. The trajectory is predictable but highly visually entrancing, providing the perfect strobing illumination for our romantic romancing. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic, aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. The kinetic energy is transferred directly into the musical groove, dictating exactly how the intoxicated patrons are allowed to move. I dodge the sweeping projection of the heavy iron frame, participating actively in this highly visual optical game. The velocity reaches its maximum directly at the lowest point, a fascinating mechanical feature of this illegal basement joint. The momentum carries the structure upward to the opposing peak, a highly dynamic environment where the visual contrasts speak.
The alternating brightness causes a heavy psychological trance, a highly unpredictable, constantly shifting, illuminated dance. I track the physical arc with my completely mesmerized stare, watching the heavy brass slice through the thick cigar-filled air. The gravitational pull forces the object perfectly back into line, a remarkably consistent, mathematically flawless physical design. We are entirely subjected to the whims of the swinging light, the most dynamic, visually chaotic elements of this Friday night. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic, aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. To the ground, do not lose your balance in the alternating dark. Follow the glowing trajectory of the electrical spark. Swing left, swing right, darkness falls, then the light, watch it move. Feel the groove, caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright rotating thing. Momentum slows, the shadow grows, fixture stops, the music drops. A thick, impenetrable fog grows deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gas lights flicker with a weak, yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery, wet path down below. I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck, refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck my incredibly secretive, highly clandestine midnight stroll. A deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul.
I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather loafers click distinctly against the ancient streets, a highly rhythmic, incredibly steady. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side, providing a magnificent shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly dark ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist, a highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist. I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain, waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train. The masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a structural witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot. We meet entirely under the glow of the flickering lamp, ignoring the incredibly pervasive, bone-chilling damp. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in the highly
through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter that the city gets. Step, click, lamp, wick, hide, near, do not fear. Turn right, fade from sight. Taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secreted place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase. Navigating the incredibly damp ancient space, the fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation. Slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. Fog rolls in, secrets spin, footsteps fade in the shade. The celestial canopy above is a magnificent deep azure, a highly faceted astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering, corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance. The constellations resemble an intricately designed diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless. The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I bought my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic, noisy metropolitan racket. The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone. The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous atmospheric visual presentation, a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue, engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity, polished to a highly reflective, gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights, a deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. The optical physical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned. The greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find. I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view, surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
The geological perfection of the heavens is undeniable. A highly consistent, astronomically reliable display of unimaginable cosmic luxury. A magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sanctuary. The moonlight catches the facets of the atmospheric jewel. A highly sophisticated, undeniably beautiful astronomical rule.
My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly.
A completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering
Panorama from the penthouse suite. An incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat. The ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric rich elegance. A highly valuable, deeply blue celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity. A nocturnal display of ultimate rarity, polished to a highly reflective, gorgeous sheen. The most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial light. A deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone. A majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed. A magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep, oceanic, faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Valuable, brilliantly faceted cosmic show. Extract the beauty from the very depth of the blue mind. Watching the entire majestic galaxy beautifully shine. Deep blue, royal hue, precious stone. We are alone. Look up high, wealthy sky. Illuminated by the distant celestial lights. A deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone. A majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed. A magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep, oceanic, faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect pitch, deepest blue, just us two. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished the bone. A harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barred despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocals are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born, friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard, communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find,
sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street.
A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel.
The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick.
I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state, a remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix, a highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks. There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sound, paper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic lived-in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. Their bones are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born, friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard, communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find,
sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Across the entire local bar, embrace the terribly unpolished hoarse delivery, a remarkably authentic, highly textured, Pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables bind together like a rusty, unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with the loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably referatory ground, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness has a dramatic, intimidating weight to every single link dating that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has enjoyed decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty gravitational pull of the moon dictates the water's pace, creating a remarkably tranquil, highly knitted taste space. Bioluminescent plankton begins to gently glow in the dark, leaving a mesmerizing, glowing, fluorescent blue mark. I walk completely barefoot along the incredibly soft shoreline, observing a natural oceanic phenomenon of perfect design. The tiny gentle ripples barely disturb the smooth sandy beach, providing a profound calmness that is comfortably within reach.
The estuary waters mix peacefully with the salty sea, a completely tranquil environment exclusively for you and me.
I collect smooth frosted sea glass scattered by the foam, finding a profound sense of comfort. This coastal home.
The lunar phase is a beautifully perfect waxing crescent, making the entire oceanic atmosphere wonderfully pleasant. A highly soothing, gentle retreat of the shallow water, nature acting as a profoundly gentle, caring daughter. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns, drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide. Nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. The coastal hermit crabs scurry into their spiral shells, while the incredibly soft ocean current peacefully swells. I sit entirely still upon the large, smooth granite boulder, feeling the heavy burdens lifting entirely off my shoulder.
The reflections of the stars dance upon the glassy surface, a profoundly beautiful, highly calming, aquatic purpose. The seaweed floats gently in the mesmerizing shallow pool. The entire ecosystem is wonderfully, dependably cool.
The retreating liquid leaves intricate patterns in the wet dirt,
healing every single microscopic psychological hurt.
I synchronize my breathing with the rhythm of the gentle wash,
observing the tiny minnows swimming in the aquatic squash.
The lunar gravity acts
as a highly dependable silent guide, controlling the remarkably peaceful, wonderful melodies.
We are lulled entirely into a state of profound relaxation,
the most effective natural form of mental pacification. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity.
The gentle foam kisses
the tips of our toes,
washing away
every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway,
gently washing
the complicated world away. A complicated world away. Let the current softly pull your worries out to sea. Embrace the gentle liquid form of absolute tranquility. The ocean breathes exactly like a sleeping giant, making our rigid human minds incredibly compliant. Inhale deep, water sweep, exhale slow, watch it go. Gentle wash, softest splash, drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Ocean sleeps, water clear, peaceful night, lunar light. From the heavily plastered underground speakeasy ceiling, the massive lighting fixture, a highly dizzying feeling, pushed by the aggressive vibrations of the heavy band, creating a sweeping trajectory that I can barely understand. The illumination oscillates across the crowded, smoky floor, pushing the patches of darkness directly toward the heavy door. A metronomic sway that hypnotizes the entire gathered crowd, while the brass instruments play incredibly, overwhelmingly loud.
I observe the heavy brass pendulum executing its massive arc, plunging half of the room into a sudden temporary dark. The rhythmic oscillation perfectly matches the drummer's steady pace, sweeping back and forth across this underground secretive space. The chains creak loudly under the immense swinging gravitational weight, a mesmerizing physics experiment happening incredibly late. The trajectory is predictable but highly visually entrancing, providing the perfect strobing illumination for our romantic romancing. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shift in mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. The kinetic energy is transferred directly into the musical groove, dictating exactly how the intoxicated patrons are allowed to move. I dodge the sweeping projection of the heavy iron frame, participating actively in this highly visual optical game. The velocity reaches its maximum directly at the lowest point, a fascinating mechanical feature of this illegal basement joint. The momentum carries the structure upward to the opposing peak, a highly dynamic environment where the visual contrasts speak. The alternating brightness causes a heavy psychological trance, a highly unpredictable, constantly shifting, illuminated dance. I track the physical arc with my completely mesmerized stare, watching the heavy brass slice through the thick cigar-filled air. The gravitational pull forces the object perfectly back into line, a remarkably consistent, mathematically flawless physical design. We are entirely subjected to the whims of the swinging light, the most dynamic, visually chaotic element of this Friday night. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. Syncopated movement dictates the shift in mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. Rotating thing. The pivot point squeaks with the highly rhythm, casting the shifting silhouettes completely onto the ground. Do not lose your balance in the alternating dark. Follow the glowing trajectory of the electrical spark. Swing left, swing right, darkness fall, then the light. Watch you move, feel the groove. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club.
slows, the shadow grows, fixture stops, the music drops.
Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished build a bone. A harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barrett spare. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh, scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with its gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache. The only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks. There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sandpaper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word.
friction, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street, a highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Incredibly sick. The friction creates a highly unique auditory scar, projecting the gruffness across the entire local bar. Embrace the terribly unpolished horse delivery, remarkably authentic, highly texturally, remarkably authentic, highly texturally. Listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, a harsh, abrasive frequency. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed bones. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty and oiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning. A thick impenetrable fog rose deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gas lights flicker with a weak yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery wet path down below.
I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck,
refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck
my incredibly secretive,
highly clandestine midnight stroll, a deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul.
I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather against the ancient street. A highly rhythmic, incredibly steady beat. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side, providing a magnificent, shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling, damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist, a highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist. I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain, waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train. The masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a structural witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot. We meet entirely under the glow of the flickering lamp, ignoring the incredibly pervasive bone-chilling damp. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter that the city gets. Step, click, lamp, wick, hide near, do not fear, turn right, fade from sight. No! Taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. Fog grows and secrets spin, footsteps fade in the shade.
incredibly opulent parlor, escaping entirely from the drab, monochromatic outdoor squalor. The heavy drapery blocking the windows is a deep burgundy, creating an atmosphere of highly exclusive aesthetic urgency. I sink deeply into the incredibly plush, tufted upholstery, surrounded by an astonishing collection of scarlet tapestry. The illumination is provided by a rosy, flattering chandelier, making every single patron look undeniably magnificent here.
My shoes sink entirely into the remarkably thick ruby carpet, the most extravagantly designed interior on the entire market. A waitress balances a silver tray of brightly colored grenadine, the most highly saturated visual environment I have ever seen. I slide perfectly into the incredibly private circular leather booth, embracing this highly manufactured, deeply colorful truth. The wallpaper features a velvety dark cherry damask pattern, a profoundly luxurious sanctuary comparable to the rings of Saturn. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, a completely flushed, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigments, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. The mahogany tables are polished to a highly reflective shine, while the patrons heavily consume their expensive vintage wine. I observe the incredibly rich ruby-tinted stained glass, watching the beautifully dressed, sophisticated clientele pass. The ambient temperature is remarkably warm and inviting, perfectly complementing the deeply atmospheric ruby lighting. A monochromatic masterpiece of absolute interior luxury, a phenomenally expensive, highly curated sanctuary. My fingernails perfectly match the velvet cushions of the chair, a highly coordinated, deeply meticulous aesthetic affair. The bartender wipes the counter with a scarlet-colored rag, while a patron retrieves a lipstick from her expensive bag. We are utterly enveloped by this warm, undeniably rich tone, feeling like royalty sitting directly upon a comfortable throne. The aesthetic consistency is remarkably strict and severe. Absolutely no contrasting colors are ever permitted here. Immersed entirely in this cardinal hue, a completely flush, magnificent view, basking in the profoundly rosy ambient glow, the most extravagant aesthetic we will ever know. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrounge. Everything is painted a spectacular blood red, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. Close the heavy doors to the mundane gray street. This highly colorful immersion is wonderfully complete. Surrender to the profoundly plush, saturated environment, the ultimate aesthetic.
aesthetic form of luxurious retirement. Red velvet, deep sink, ruby glass, fancy drink, scarlet glow, moving slow. Relaxing inside this magnificent crimson lounge, where the wealthy socialites consistently scrum. Everything is painted a spectacular blur, a highly luxurious canopy suspended overhead, a deeply saturated, incredibly opulent hideaway, where the glamorous residents permanently stay, drowning in the majestic regal scarlet pigment, a beautifully crafted interior design figment. Lights dim down, rich side of town, stay inside, nowhere to hide. Gravitational pull of the moon dictates the water's pace, creating a remarkably tranquil, highly meditative space. Bioluminescent plankton begins to gently glow in the dark, leaving a mesmerizing, glowing, fluorescent blue mark.
I walk completely barefoot along the incredibly soft shoreline, observing the natural oceanic phenomenon of perfect design. The tiny gentle ripples barely disturb the smooth sandy beach, providing a profound calmness that is comfortably within reach. The estuary waters mix peacefully with the salty sea, a completely tranquil environment exclusively for you and me. I collect smooth frosted sea glass scattered by the foam, finding a profound sense of comfort in this coastal home. The lunar phase is a beautifully perfect waxing crescent, making the entire oceanic atmosphere wonderfully pleasant. A highly soothing, gentle retreat of the shallow water, nature acting as a profoundly gentle, caring daughter. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns, drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide. Nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single whirly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. The coastal hermit crabs scurry into their spiral shells, while the incredibly soft ocean current peacefully swells. I sit entirely still upon a large, smooth granite boulder, feeling the heavy burdens lifting entirely off my shoulder. The reflections of the stars dance upon the glassy surface, a
gently in the mesmerizing shallow pool. The entire ecosystem is wonderfully, dependably cool. The retreating liquid leaves intricate patterns in the wet dirt, healing every single microscopic psychological hurt. I synchronize my breathing with the rhythm of the gentle wash, observing the tiny minnow swimming in the aquatic squash. The lunar gravity acts as a highly dependable silent guide, controlling the remarkably peaceful, wonderful melotide. We are lulled entirely into a state of profound relaxation, the most effective natural form of mental pacification. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Let the current softly pull your worries out to sea. Embrace the gentle liquid form of absolute tranquility. The ocean breathes exactly like a sleeping giant, making our rigid human minds incredibly compliant. Inhale deep, water sweep. Exhale slow, watch it go. Gentle wash, soft splash. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide, nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Ocean sleeps, water creeps, peaceful night, lunar light. Hoisting the massive canvas mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. Upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull.
Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary ride in the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat, dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with a pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breathe spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dreams. Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock, riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat, dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with a pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. When the weather turns, navigate the vessel wherever the lantern burns. The aquatic journey provides an absolute thrill, riding the aquatic roller coaster with incredible skill. Heave ho, pull the line, weather good, feeling fine, set the sail, catch the gale. Ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty, swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends.
multi-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio supervisor. The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter. We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect, a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect. I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line, a manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. The dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dubbed illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal, crash the simulator, backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall.
The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at.
The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass,
creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mix down is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dubbed illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. New track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dubbed illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a parched landscape is deeply cracked and severely broken. Not a single drop of moisture has been miraculously spoken. I walk across the massive, shifting golden sand dunes, singing these incredibly thirsty, nomadic, arid tunes. The solar radiation bakes the terracotta soil to a crisp, while the dry wind blows past with a terrifying lisp. My canteen has been completely empty for 3 entire days, wandering endlessly through this magnificent desert haze.
The vultures circle patiently above the barren canyon ridge, a massive geographical gap without a single wooden bridge. I strike the stretched animal skin of my tribal hand drum, waiting for the elusive, mythical rain clouds to finally come. The drought has lasted for an unprecedented, terrible decade, leaving the entirely dehydrated ecosystem completely betrayed. I seek the elusive shade of a solitary prickly cactus plant, chanting a desperate, highly repetitive survivalist chant, thus swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute devastating like the rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. The riverbed is completely devoid of any flowing streams, just the skeletal remains of our former aquatic dreams. I shake the hollow gourd filled with dried, rattling seeds, ignoring my severe, highly critical biological needs. The scorpions scurry beneath the baking, jagged rocks, while the relentless equator sun continuously mocks our pathetic, desperate attempts to invoke the heavy storm, surviving the absolute harshest terrestrial norm.
The mirage shimmers deceptively on the vast horizon line, an optical trick of an incredibly cruel, malicious design. I tap my wooden walking stick against the petrified wood, understanding the severe consequences as I probably should. The percussion echoes weakly across the desolate flatlands, played entirely by my blistered, heavy, calloused hands. We march toward the distant, hazy, purple mountain peaks, a highly dangerous journey that takes several brutal weeks. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute, devastating like a rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. A deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. Must accept these terribly harsh fates. Strike the star. Oh, 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 pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. Sand blows, water goes, beat the drum, kingdom come. Flipping open a tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive, waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive. I noticed the rosy smudge transfer directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical mind had feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. Oh, the rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness, wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peeled away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked. I twist The plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted and glamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application. A deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation. My lip liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside this superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary part. The artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, except the unvarnished reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial, waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss. Wipe clean, face seen. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, move